Thank you. Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. Thank you so much for this opportunity. The Board of Commissioners unanimously passed a resolution on June 2016 to condemn hate crime, support acceptance, and encouraging an interfaith dialogue. And Office of the Chairman spearheaded this effort in bringing the interfaith community together for a dialogue. The presentation today would involve the background, vision, and goals of the council. The team would present on the statistics. We have some presentations on each faith for a couple of minutes. The research committee will present its findings on the evidence-based approaches across the nation. We'll also talk about the interdepartmental collaborative efforts and policy change recommendations. So as you all passed the resolution on June 15 to condemn hate crimes and emphasized Fulton County's history in acceptance, diversity, and fellowship. You also encouraged interfaith and multicultural dialogue. As we started meeting, we strategized and we came up with the following mission and goals. The main mission is to increase awareness of intercultural understanding and strengthen the grassroots interfaith community partnerships in Fulton County and beyond. And as you can see, the goals increase cultural exchange and engagement opportunities, strong set of recommendations, especially policies and programs, and also take actionable steps with partnerships to be proactive and increase public awareness of the Interfaith Council. I'm going to bring Jeff Sadiq to talk about the statistics. Jeff.
Sure. Good morning, Chairman Eves and members of the Board of Commissioners. My name is Jeff Sadiq. I'm a resident of Fulton County, an active participant since this initiative, along with many of the colleagues over here, back from July of 2016. Just to run through some of these numbers over here, you'll see that population, keep in mind, this is a consensus since 2010. These numbers we feel have significantly grown thereof, but you see Protestant at 50%, 461,000. None, and I'll get to that in a second in our next slide. None factors in at 314,000, 34%. Catholic at 91,000, 9.9%. The Jewish and Reform Orthodox Conservative faith, 19,000, 656, 3.2%. Muslim at 12,700, 1.3%. Buddhist at 0.6%, Hindu at 0.36%, and Baha at 0.1, 1,000, just over 1,000. Keep in mind, from a Muslim perspective, I know the numbers, more recent numbers, including all of Georgia, are approximately 80,000 Muslims that are within the state of Georgia. Now, going back to 2000, and circling back to that number for none, you see that number has significantly grown tenfold almost since 2000. So within a span of 10 years, it's doubling almost every year. And that's how we also feel that that number is significantly growing from 2010 to 2017. That number, or that, the definition of none could be also accompanied by people who label themselves as secular, that are maybe part of a faith-based, but are maybe non-practicing. And you see also many of these people are interested in not only faith-based initiatives, but also multicultural initiatives. So I think these are important factors to keep in mind as we look at the trend, and it's a big significant uptick in this trend, and keep these numbers in mind as we move forward to participate with the community and the interfaith community with the help of Fulton County and this initiative. Thank you.
Commissioners, we met almost for 5 times in the last 6 months. We had each meeting in the Jewish temple, we had it in a Hindu temple, we had it in a mosque and the Baha'i Community Center, as well as the Buddhist Community Center and church as well. And during these, we strategized again, and the council did want to present very briefly on each of the faith beliefs that they belong to. And I would bring forward Pastor Dawkins, who is one of our own, to come and present on the Christianity faith.
Thank you. Thank you, commissioners, for allowing us to participating in this interfaith ecumenical endeavor to bring about unity and more so to end hate in our communities. I'll be representing and speaking of Christianity. According to our information, there are over 2.2 billion followers of Christian faith worldwide. Followers of the Christian religion base their beliefs on the life, teachings, and death of Jesus Christ. Christians believe in one God that created the heaven, earth, and the universe. Christians believe that Jesus Christ is the Messiah or Savior of the world. Christians believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. Christians believe that Jesus Christ was crucified on the cross and his death made salvation and the forgiveness of sins possible. Christians believe that Jesus Christ rose from the dead on the third day after his crucifixion. Christians believe that Jesus Christ ascended to heaven and that he shall return to judge the living and the dead. Christians believe that God's presence remains on earth in the form of the Holy Spirit or Comforter. Christians believe that salvation can only be obtained by believing that Jesus Christ was sent by God to forgive sins and to confess those sins to him. Christians believe in a Trinitarian God, God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, three in one. In the book of Matthew in the New Testament of the Bible describes Jesus speaking of one of the greatest commandments. Matthew 27:37-39. Jesus replied, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself." Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Dawkins. Next, I'd like to bring our own Gogi Basi and Jaspir to talk about the Sikh community.
First of all, I'd like to congratulate the Board of Commissioners of Fulton County for their foresight in taking this initiative to form an interfaith council. This is the need of the time. And thank you so much for taking time to listen to us. About Sikh faith, this is very new to the West, but it is a new faith. It started about 550 years back in an area known as Punjab, now divided into Pakistan and India. Sikhs came to U.S. in late 1900s, and specifically to Atlanta. The first known Sikh coming to Atlanta was in late 1960s, came as a student at Georgia Tech, and then the rest of the Sikh community followed. They're very easily recognized with a turban on their head, male Sikhs especially. I would say hardly anyone else other than Sikhs in U.S. have a turban and a beard. The Sikh faith, there's only one creator of us all. That's it. For us, as human beings, as member of the family, 4 rules of conduct: be honest, always contribute to the well of the goodness of the community, earn your living, share your living, and then serve the creation. Always stand up for the human rights and fight against oppression. Those are the basic beliefs, and our spiritual center is not only a place where we gather, it's a community center, it's a place where we provide services to the community. Whosoever comes, they will be provided a meal, clothing, possible assistance, even financial, place to stay for a night or two in case somebody's traveling, and any other kind of help that is needed, and it is totally for the entire humanity, no differentiation based on any kind of criteria. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us. And I'm happy to be back again. I was here a few months ago for the meeting initiation. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gogi ji. Next, we have Joe Ferguson, who gave the invocation this morning with the Baha'i faith.
Thank you very much. The first Baha'i came to the Atlanta area in 1909. The Baha'i faith began in 1844 in what is now modern-day Iran. From that 1844, the Baha'i faith is spread around the world. It is the second most widely distributed faith, and second only to Christianity. The basic Baha'i tenets are listed in the handout. The main three that I would like to mention are the oneness of God, that there is only one God. We all worship the one God. The oneness of the religion. We believe that all religions come from God, like chapters of a book. That God has sent these messengers to different parts of the world, to different people, at different times in human history. The spiritual teachings are very, very similar, essentially the same. What differs between religions are the social teachings necessary to aid that group of people to grow and develop materially. We believe that there is one humanity, that we're all children of God, physically and spiritually. There is no difference. As an outgrowth of that, we believe that there must be an elimination of all prejudice of every kind, and that there must be equality of men and women. This is taught in every country where Baha'is reside. Sometimes they are in prison for that teaching, but it is still important to do this. I am new to this group, and the Baha'i teachings are very much in line with what this group stands for, and I'm very eager to get started and work with this group in this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. We have Rabbi Nemhauser next, talking about the Judaism religion.
Good morning, Rabbi.
5,000 years in a 2-minute slot, right? So, as many of you know, Judaism originated in ancient Mesopotamia, which is now the Eastern Mediterranean, which is part of the Eastern Mediterranean and now is Iraq, and as a monotheistic religion. In about 2000, before the Common Era, the ancient Israelites are governed and guided by Torah, as we are still to this day, which was developed over centuries and then probably codified around the 6th century before the Common Era. We continue to read the Torah scroll every Sabbath and on our holidays, and it's the same scroll but duplicated by a special scribe. Prophets and judges also taught universal ideals of social justice that are codified throughout the Hebrew Bible, all of the Bible, which consists of the Torah, the books of the prophets, and the writings. Judaism is centered around ancient Israel, Jerusalem as the nucleus, until about 70 of the Common Era, when the temple was destroyed and Jewish communities dispersed to neighboring regions and eventually came all the way into the North and South Americas and throughout Europe. The Talmud is our primary legal code. It was also developed over centuries but codified around 500 of the Common Era, and that adds detail and updates to Torah laws and narratives that guide individuals and communities. The rabbinic sages who wrote the Talmud decentralized Judaism and teaches that return to Israel is an aspiration in our prayers. When God is ready, we'll go back. Theology of Judaism includes that God exists and there's only one God. God is transcendent, above all earthly things. God created the universe and humanity and created humanity to be partners in ongoing creation. God is omnipresent. God is everywhere all the time. And God is merciful, forgiving toward those who err. God can be also personal and accessible and interested in individuals. God listens to individuals, we believe, but sometimes speaks in ways that we don't always understand. Humanity, finally, cannot really know all of God and God's ways. Traditionally, we recite prayers 3 times a day and recite about 100 blessings a day, some of which are incorporated in those prayers. Our prayer book, called a Siddur, which some of you know goes backwards, right to left, is made up of prayers and composed that were composed first in the Bible, and then we've added to that prayer book throughout the centuries and up right until this day. Israel is considered our Jewish homeland, and as I mentioned before, aspirations for return, which we achieved in 1948, but continue to pray for peace in the region, and they really permeate those prayers, our worship, our teachings, and of course, our political discourse. There's 4 main streams of Judaism, all of which are present here in Atlanta and in Fulton County: Orthodox, Conservative, Reform, and Reconstructionist. There are also ultra-Orthodox Jews who live throughout the world, and they number about 1.5 million. You'll see them in black hats, black long coats, and fully clothed as women. There are about 13 to 14 million Jews throughout the world, and here in Atlanta, we think there's approximately 120,000, and in Fulton County, you noticed almost 20,000. Culturally, we really enjoy the arts and are very, very proud to have with us right now, or occurring right now, about 3 weeks, the Atlanta Jewish Film Festival, and we'll be showing over 70 films for 3 weeks throughout different venues in Atlanta, mainly in Fulton County, and of course the Atlanta Jewish Music Festival, which will come to us next month. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ellen. We have Teresa Hamilton to present on the Buddhism faith.
Good morning.
Good morning.
No, thank you. My name is Teresa Hamilton, and I am here on behalf of the members of SGI International USA Atlanta. Our Atlanta Buddhist Center is located on the corner of 17th and Village. We are in the Atlantic Station. So the most diverse Buddhist community in the United States, with more than 500 chapters and some 100 chapter centers throughout the country, part of the larger SGI network, which comprises more than 12 million people in 192 countries and territories around the world. SGI members base their practice on the Lotus Sutra and Nichiren Buddhism, which teaches that each person has within the courage, wisdom, and compassion to face and surmount any of life's challenges, based on core Buddhist principles such as respecting the dignity of human life and the interconnectedness of self and environment. SGI engages in various peace activities, including human rights education, the movement to abolish nuclear weapons, and efforts to promote sustainable development. I also want to thank you all because you supported us in the exhibit that we had last year and recognized us with a resolution. So, Daisaku Ikeda, Dr. Daisaku Ikeda is a Buddhist leader, peace builder, prolific writer, poet, and educator, as well as the founder of a number of cultural, educational, and peace research institutions around the world. As third president of the Soka Gakkai Value Creating Society and founder of Soka Gakkai International, Daisaku Ikeda has developed and inspired what may be the largest, most diverse international lay Buddhist association in the world today. Based on the 700-year-old tradition of Nichiren Buddhism, the movement is characterized by its emphasis on individual empowerment and social engagement to advance peace and culture. The quote that you see now is from Dr. Ikeda, which says, "A great human revolution in just a single individual will enable a change in the destiny of all humankind." Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. Next, we have Imam Jaber and Dr. Mumtaz presenting on the Islamic religion.
Good morning.
Good morning.
In the name of God, most beneficent, most merciful, I would like to start off on a personal note. You do have the note with you, and what I would like to share is this morning I got a call, 727, and I said, well, that's a Florida number. And I pick up the phone, and it's a friend of mine, David Hill, who is a Christian. And me and him, well, he was him and Ari, who is Jewish by faith, they were my two partners in crime back when I was a bit younger. Now, me being a millennial, being 26 right now, there's a lot of concern and disturbance that we see within our country, right? And so he called me and he said, I said, man, I haven't spoken to you in 10 years. And he said, well, I called the Seth and I told him to text me your number, and he texted me your number, so I just called you. And he said, how is it possible that we live in the United States of America and a nation that's founded by refugees? And how is it that we live in this nation and today a man in Iraq who's put his life on the line working with the American military, and now he comes to America selling his house and all his belongings. He comes to the shores of America and is turned away. No longer is his sacrifice recognized. And my friend, he asked me, what happened to humanity? So today, although I am Muslim by faith, but I don't stand in front of you advocating only Islam, or advocating only Christianity, or advocating only the Judaic faith, but all. Because if there's something that all of the faiths have in common, that's humanity. So with that, I would like to go back to the slides. What does Islam mean? So the meaning of Islam comes from this Arabic word salima, which is similar to shalom in Hebrew. Now, a Muslim by definition is anyone who submits, anyone who is in a state of peace and is a means for peace to other people. Now, the concept of Islam is from the very creation of Adam himself, from the very get-go of the creation of mankind. So the one thing that I want to present in front of you today is the principles that all of the three monotheistic religions, all of the three Abrahamic religions have in common. That at the end of the day, that which we all strive to achieve is the same. And if you look at it, it's there, but I will summarize them in the teachings of Jesus, peace and blessings be upon him. He said, all of the commandments of God are summed up in this single command. You must love for your neighbor that which you love for yourself. And Rabbi Hillel in the Talmud, when he was asked, can you summarize the whole of Talmud while I stand on one leg? He said, what is hateful to you, do not do to others. This is the whole of the Torah, and the rest is commentary. Go and learn it. So when we learn our religion, what we find, it's about humanity. And the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, he said, the best in the sight of God is the one who is most beneficial to humanity. And I leave you with somebody that we all know of, a very beautiful quote of his. He said, at the end of the day, it is not the voices of your enemies that you remember, but it's the silence of your friends. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. I want to thank you all for giving us time to present our thoughts. As Imam Jabir Abdullah said, he's the spiritual leader. I try to be spiritual, not a spiritual leader. But these times are challenging, and I got a call from Rabbi Carl Bernstein yesterday afternoon, and he said, I want to come visit you tomorrow at 4:30 at the Islamic Center of North Fulton. And I put the phone down. I get a call from Michael, who's the reporter for Georgia Bulletin of the Catholic Church, is saying that I want to come visit you. I said, well, you both come tomorrow at 4:30. We'll have cake together. So I really appreciate the support, and spiritual leaders have to be together, and the people have to be together. I just want to give a perspective that there's over 1 billion Muslims worldwide, but a majority of them do not live in Middle East. They live in Indonesia, Malaysia, India, Bangladesh, and Pakistan. And not all Arabs are Muslims. 10% of them are Christians. And the fact that there's over 6 million Muslims in the United States, we have hundreds of church masajid and Islamic centers across the country. On the right, the historical perspective, just to give you how the monotheistic religions have evolved from peace be upon Abraham to Moses to Jesus to Muhammad. It is important to have objectives, but the objectives formulate our intentions. And our intentions serve as basis for our actions. So Islam encourages that we do certain things so that our actions are controlled by our intentions, and that our intentions are pure and evolved from what God wants us to do. So these are on the right you'll see the 5 activities the Muslims are involved. One is to declare you are a Muslim. The second is prayer. You have to pray 5 times a day. And once in a while you might see someone washing their hands or even feet in the bathroom, and that's what they're trying to clean themselves before they go for prayer. So the prayers are 5 times a day, but the Friday prayer is the most important. And once in a while you will see employees come kind of late sometimes or take a reason to get away from. Psalm is the fasting, Ramadan. That's one of the important things, and that's a celebration we have. Of the 2, the last one is Hajj pilgrimage, where people go once in a while to perform Hajj at Mecca. And basically, these are some of the observations the Muslims do in a day-to-day life. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mumtaz. Next, we have Dr. Char with the Hindu belief.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. Hinduism, Hindu religion, Hindu faith, is one of the most unorganized religions. Unorganized, and true enough, I'm also unorganized today. I didn't know what I'm going to say. So, but bear with me. Basically, the fundamental thought that comes to your mind when you talk about Hinduism is that it is a default religion, faith of all humanity. There's ample evidence, archival evidence to show that. The Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. That is the hypotenuse, the square and the hypotenuse will be equal to the squares now the 2 sides. That Pythagorean person, he was a vegetarian, basically, and he believed in reincarnation. Both the ideas he got from India, from South India, I mean from India, basically, from the Hindu faith. Apollonius, one of his students, he visited India and went all over Africa. He went down the Nile River, and amazingly, he went around talking to the priests in the Egyptian temples. So somebody asked, who dares to talk to Egyptian temples, tell them about philosophy of life? And Apollonius said, one who has visited India and learned things there. So there's something amazing about the Hindu faith. It's the only faith, along with Judaism, I believe, that has remained unbroken. There's an unbroken chain of continuity about it for 10,000 millennia. I mean 10 millennia, or 10,000 years or more. The morning prayer I chant, Om Bhur Bhuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. O Lord, the creator of the universe, the creator of the atom, who lives in everything, please fire my imagination, fire my mind, and make me good like you. Put me in your path. So that's the morning prayer which I chant every morning, every now and then, and has come to me for more than 10,000 years. There's no change when it comes to that. That's why, if you see, there are a number of books too. One of the best books on Hinduism is written by a Muslim by name Al-Baruni. Al-Baruni was a visitor from today's, I think, Kazakhstan, and his book is called just basically India. And that he describes the people of that particular place, and there are other testimonials from Chinese, Pahyan, and other people who visited India in those days. I'm talking about 2,000 years ago. And so the basic principle on which Hinduism is based is Asadoma Sadgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgam, Vichorma, from untruth, lead me to the truth. Tamasoma Jyotirgama, from darkness, ignorance, lead me to light. Mrityormam Amritam Game, from mortality, lead me on to something that is permanent in this universe. So you will see from that that the religion is very tolerant. It tolerates all kinds of isms, faiths. As a matter of fact, one of the earliest mosques, Muslim mosques, it was set up in the state of Kerala in 637 AD, hardly two decades after the religion was set up by Muhammad Paighambar. So this tolerance is very much there it's built into our DNA, I think. So we don't even think, we don't make an effort to be tolerant, to listen to people. Let our truth come from all directions, from all stages. That's what it says. So when many other faiths, from many other philosophies, lives, and styles of living have become extinct, this remains unbroken, and that still stays. And then Ahamsa Paramo Dharma, non-violence, which led Mahatma Gandhi to, lead the independence movement in India, by which we got independence from the greatest imperialist power, the British colonial power. So we got that through total non-violent methods, thanks to the Hindu faith. We always say respect all religions, faiths, and at the same time worship your own. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, you all have given a wonderful presentation. This has been a wide array of snapshot of each of the religions that you're affiliated with. You represent the